All right, the mandatory ACT practice. I'm going to run through this one pretty quick because lunch is in like 10 minutes. All right, so very little explanation. 8 both sides. 8's cancel. 3 times 3x minus 4 is 9x minus 12. 8 times 14, 102. Add 12. That's weird. Well, now this is just making me wonder something I did in another video. Nice. Okay, 13, 24, 80, 32, 112. Ah, there's my mistake. Add 12. 9x is 144. Divide by 9. 144 over 9. Number 2. X's go left. 3x minus 6, 9x is negative 6x. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. Divide by negative 6. X is greater than, we got to be careful about this. X is less than 2/3. If divide by negative, flip inequality. This would be written out in interval form. I would be negative infinity to 2/3. That'd look like that. All right, number 3, I'm going to add 1. I'm going to have a 9. The absolute value of 2/3 x minus 5 is 9. I'm going to write 2 equations. 2/3 of x minus 5 is 9, or negative 2/3 of x minus plus 5 is 9. Here I am trying to speed up and I'm getting slower. I'm going to add 5 to 9. 2/3 of x is 14. I'm going to 3 both sides because I want to counteract that division. That'll give me 2x is 30, 12, 42. I'm going to divide by 2, and x is 21. There's one answer. Subtract 5. Negative 2/3 of x is 4. Here I'm going to multiply by a negative 3 because that makes the negatives cancel, 3's cancel, and if I 3 one side, I better 3 the other. 2x is 12, x is 6. I'm 21 or I'm 6. Number 4, solve for x. So I'm going to leave 6x on the left. I'm going to move 7xy left. That's going to make its sign change. I'm going to leave 5 on the right, and I'm going to move 3y over, which is going to make its sign change. Then I'm going to factor. If I pull an x out, I'm actually going to change the order of these things too. If I pull an x from 7xy, I have 7y. If I pull it from 6, I have plus 6. And that's equal to 5 minus 3y. So it got a little cluttered. I have x times 7y plus 6 equal to 5 minus 3y. I counteract multiplication with division. And there's my answer because that's canceled, and that says x equals now. The distributive and double distributive property. X times x is x squared. 4 times x is plus 4x. X times negative 7 is minus 7x. 4 times negative 7 is minus 28. I add like terms. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. And I'm moving on with my life. 2x times 5x is 10x to the second. 2x times 2 is plus 4x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is minus 25. Negative 5 times 2 is minus 10. 4 take away 25 is negative 21. Function notation. Plug a number in. Be done with it. I'm told to let x be negative 2. 4 times negative 2 squared minus 7. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. Formula for slope is needed. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. There's x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them in. Why you can't do this is beyond me. You need to figure yourself out. Top should be 13 minus 6. Bottom should be 5 minus negative 2. 13 minus 6 ought to be 7. And 5 take away negative 2 is also 7. This ends up being 1. Number 9, given that f of x is negative x squared minus 4, find the average rate of change over the interval from negative 4 to 2. That gives me a and b for my little formula. It says f of b minus f of a. Sitting pretty over b minus a. So I'm going to find these things by plugging them in. F of 2 is a negative 2 that is squared minus 4. That's going to be negative 4 minus 4, which is negative 8. F of negative 4 is a negative 4 squared minus 4. A negative 4 squared is 16. We have a negative in front of a positive. Then we take away 4. That's going to be negative 20 when everything is said and done. And I'm going to plug those numbers in right here. F of B ended up being negative 8. I'm taking away F of A, which was negative 20. And I'm sitting pretty over B minus A, 2 minus a negative 4. Negative 8 minus negative 20 is 12. 2 minus negative 4 is 6. This ends up being 2. ACT stuff. A line is drawn on the xy axis such that it passes through the origin and the point 5, negative 12. It means it goes right 5 and it goes down. It goes right 5. What I'm doing is imagining a triangle, and it goes down 12. Oh, that's not down. Down 12. Think about your little SOHCAHTOA acronym. I want tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite is a negative 12. Adjacent is a 5. Done. Write two equations. This is so easy. Add 4 to both sides. You are either 5x minus 12 is 14, or the way the ACT has been doing this, you wrap the interior in a negative symbol, and you're done. That's what you do. Ta-da! Backside. Key features of graph. State the domain of the piecewise function. This one travels from negative 5 all the way to negative 3, and there's a hole here, and there's no place where the graph fixes it. So negative 5 to negative 3, parentheses on the negative 3 because there's a hole. Then it travels from the other side of negative 3 all the way to 2, and you'd be tempted to say 2 with the parentheses, but it's closed at 2 right here. So we keep on walking until we hit 7. And at 7 is also a parentheses because it's a hole and there's nothing there, so therefore parentheses. Number 11, state the range of the piecewise function. This thing gets really close to 0, but it doesn't actually hit 0. Range, by the way, is your y. Close to 0, hence parentheses. And it rises on this side to almost 2, but on this side it rises to 5. Bracket on the 5. And then there's a jump. There's a jump all the way up to a y value of 6. So union with just 6. That last piece of the graph is constant. Anywhere on that piece, the y value is 6. 12, state the intervals where the graph is increasing. That would be right here. This is increasing. It's going uphill. You are increasing from negative 3 to 2. Decreasing would be this guy right here, negative 5 to negative 3. The number of kids who miss that's ridiculous. Constant is up here, 2 to 7. X-intercepts, don't have them. Never heard of her. There's a hole here. X-intercepts are legit where you cross the x-axis. If you can't understand that or comprehend that, I can't help you. I don't know what's wrong with you. Fix that problem. There's a hole. There are none. Y-intercept right there. Happens at 0, 1. The x value is 0, the y value is 1. Determine the average rate of change over the interval from negative 5 to 0. So at negative 5, I'm right here. At 0, I'm right here. It looks to me like I fell 4 units and I ran to the right 5, negative 4/5. Find f of 2 if it does not exist state y. Now you'd be very tempted to say it doesn't exist because you'd look where x is 2, you'd look here and you'd see a hole in the graph, but it's closed up there. It's 6. Find f of negative 3. So I go to where x is negative 3, I look at the graph, I see a hole, there's nothing there, and above or below where x is negative 3, there's also nothing solid. This does not exist. DNE, y, x equals negative 3 is not in the domain of the function. I am accepting there's a hole in the graph for right now, but Oh, I can't stand it. All right, the bonus questions. Solve for x. Take a finger, cover it up. 2x plus 9 is 0. Subtract 9, 2x is negative 9. Divide by 2, we get negative half, negative 9 halves. Cover up the other factor. 7x plus a quarter is 0. Subtract a quarter. Divide by 7. 4 times 7 is 28, so negative 1/28. Done. Solve by factoring. Guess and check technique. I think it's going to take a 5x and 2x. Notice I said think, didn't say no. Factors of 15 are 5 and 3. I know 3 times 5 is 15. Then placement. 5 and 3. The outside makes 25. If I can write, my hand is not keeping up with me. The inside makes 6. 25 minus 16 minus 6 is 19. There's my signs. Now it does say solve. So you've got to go off the side and you've got to do 5x minus 3 is 0 or 2x plus 5 is 0. They're both simple. And that's 3/5 all day long. That's negative 5/2 all day long. I told you I was going to rush this thing because I want to go to lunch. I love you, but you're not worth my lunch break, even though I've already burned up half of it. This one. Do what it says. Find f of x plus h. You let x be x plus h. If you're taking bridge math for sure, you're not going to college, don't you worry about this. Don't you worry about it. Everywhere I saw an x, she became x plus h. I need to figure out what this is. X plus h squared would be to write it twice, and you will have an x squared, you'll have an hx, you'll have another hx, and you'll have an h squared. If you do this about 5 or 6 times, you memorize that the interior is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, but you have to be willing to do it several times. Invoke your distributor property. Don't overthink it, that's how long it takes. And invoke your distributor property. Now, all this is going right there. 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3x minus 3h minus 3. Then there's a minus symbol. It says take away the original function. Better wrap it or you'll make mistakes. And it's all sitting pretty over an h. Now whatever's here will cancel out. And we are now left with 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3h all over h. And I shouldn't have to show this, but y'all are weak. If I pull an h from everything up top, I can see that it cancels. And this is what I am left with. And that is the mandatory Basics 5 practice. You're welcome.